In this video, we're going to be seeing just how lethal a number 2 pencil can be. This idea was brought up to me by one of my viewers, Mr. Charles, my dear friend Charles. Charles left that comment and it got me thinking, man, I really got to get out here. We got to get some stuff together and we got to see just how much damage we can cause with one of these number 2 pencils for scientific research only. Additionally, I've got some other things with me today to compare the damage of the number 2 pencil to. So without further ado, let's get right into it with our first test. All right, for our first test, I figured we needed something that was a little bit durable. Hence why we got the pumpkin. And I do have gloves on because I don't want to stab the pumpkin and then break off the pencil and then send it into my hand. I need this thing. As well as stabbing it with a pencil, I'm going to stab it with my hunting knife to go ahead and see how that also compares. After we do that, I'm going to throw this t-shirt over the pumpkin. I'm going to layer it up a few times and see if we can actually stab through the t-shirt and still do some damage to the pumpkin. I don't know how you stab a number 2 pencil into some... Ooh, this is going to go good. All right, here we go. I'm just going to stab it thumb over the eraser like this. 3, 2, 1. That was extremely easy, actually. That was way easier than I thought it would be. Stab it again. 3, 2. I'd say that pumpkin didn't stand a chance. We're gonna take the shirt. We're gonna go 4 layers. And we're gonna stab it right here. So that went through the shirt and went a little ways into the pumpkin, but not very far at all. Barely doing anything. You can like see the difference between that stab wound and that one. Okay, now we're gonna try the knife. Now, I have absolutely no doubt that the knife can just stab right into the pumpkin, as I just proved. We're just gonna go straight to the cloth. Thumb over the heel of the knife, just straight in like that. Here we go. 3, 2. That did infinitely better. Yeah. Absolutely no issue going through that shirt. So it kind of looks like if you have maybe a couple layers on, that would be pretty effective at stopping a pencil. I do have one more thing that I want to go ahead and try, and I want to see how effective that is against the pumpkin. Let me go grab it real quick. That was actually my third knife that I have. I call it Old Reliable. So Old Reliable actually shoots this thing called number 4. Pretty cool. I don't really think it cared about the cloth. So the next thing we got here is this big juicy pork roast. So I'd be curious to see what a pencil can do to this thing. And then I think instead we're actually going to do 2 layers as well as 4 layers with the shirt. Let's go ahead and stack it this way. And I'm just going to stab directly in like this, and we'll see what happens. That was pretty effective. You can actually see the pencil did go through once, twice. That was a bad stab. Okay. It took the shirt pretty deep into the wound. Let's just see how much penetration we got here. That's not bad. It only went in about that far though. So I think that actually did a lot better because the meat was pressed up against the log here. And you can see that went through a solid, probably 2 inches, 2.5 inches of meat. So 2.5 inches of meat, not bad. Let's actually do one stab with a dull pencil. I'm curious to see what a dull pencil will do. For being dull, that really didn't change much. It actually didn't go through the shirt, but it still carried through the wound pretty good. I wonder if I got the same wound as before. Yeah, so again, didn't go through the shirt, but did poke a hole. Here we go. So sideways doesn't really matter. Let's go straight down like this now. Tip of the blade is literally right there. It went through pretty much the whole thing. I think it's pretty safe to assume that it would definitely not be pleasant to be stabbed by a pencil. Now, if some crackhead just comes at me with a pencil in his hand, I'm not gonna be like, oh my gosh, like the same way if he had, I don't know, a Glock 43. Or if he had a knife. Even if he had a knife, I'd be like, I don't really wanna be here. If he had a pencil, I think we can conclude from today's video, if a crackhead is approaching you and he has a number 2 pencil, probably the best thing you can do is just get out of there. In fact, I don't know why you're interacting with the crackheads in the first place. I don't think that that's a recommended thing for your safety. What we also can conclude is that it would not be fun to get shot by a shotgun. I think we all knew that coming into this video, but this really confirms my suspicions. That's the conclusion for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.